Hi, I'm back. I'm ready to look at the one carbohydrate serving choice slide. Okay, the reason we really try to make or help you figure out that these amounts of carbohydrate, whether it's fruits or milk or starch or grain, they're all the same. They really equal um, in terms of how much carbohydrate they have and how much we're receiving when we eat them. Uh, there's a couple of caveats I would have to say. Look, I don't think fruit is a problem. It's part of a healthy diet. We know this. It contains fiber, and I've already talked about how fiber helps fill us. Fiber also helps reduce our risk for certain types of cancer and heart disease. So, fruit and fiber is a good thing. Milk, like I said, I think some people are milk drinkers. This also counts for yogurt. Yogurt is a milk product that has a good amount of carbohydrate in it. And yogurt is being made to taste sweet with fruit or sugar. Can see some very high sugar yogurts in that yogurt aisle, and there's a ton of them, and we have no idea which one to choose. Um, but I think the starches is a good place uh, to try to learn how much of each starch or grain um, is a serving. In a serving, we've really kind of narrowed it down to 15 grams. That's the standard amount of a grain serving. Something I haven't mentioned yet is kind of our non fat four, I call it. My non fat four are carbohydrates, uh, plant carbohydrates that don't don't have any fat in them. But let's look at what they are. Beans, wonderful high fiber food, does not contain fat naturally. But how are we used to eating beans? In borracho beans or charo beans or refried beans. And sometimes the refried beans have so much fat on them, it looks as if there's a little pond of fat over the refried beans. Uh, Potatoes don't have fat in them naturally, but of course, we have mashed potatoes with a lot of butter and cream in them, or baked potato with bacon and butter and sour cream in them. So the potato has become fatty now. Um, Corn. Corn doesn't necessarily have fat in it, uh, or peas. Uh, but of course, you can find a recipe that's going to add bacon and butter and cream to any of those foods, and now it's turned into a pretty high fat food. These are carbohydrates, however. I do prefer the beans, they have the most fiber, but I do like potatoes. They're very filling. We get a lot of, and they're very cultural, they're around. We eat potatoes or papas in every culture. Um, so they're common, but you really have to look at the balance on your plate. If we're having potatoes and rice and pasta and tortilla and bread, which, let's face it, that might look like Thanksgiving. Uh, if we have a plate like that, that can be a lot. Um, so you can see we're really trying to equate a uh, a serving of potatoes, mashed potatoes, to half a grapefruit, to a flour or corn tortilla, to half a cup of corn. Um, I can't tell right now what one of those pictures is, but then you see peas. You see the pea pod and peas. All those in about half a cup are about the same as the other. And in terms of the tortilla, think of the masa, think of the dough for bread used to make this. They're all going to be about the same, a ball. I'll be right back and we're going to look at the nutrition label.